All right, welcome back, pubcasters. Welcome back to all of the Last American Pubcast crew, audience, participants, viewers at home, skulkers in the back who are just kind of lonely checking in for the first time. Everyone else, thank you for being here, for joining us for a very fun Last American Pubcast. As always, and I want to say it's as always because PJ's always here. PJ Williams, introduce yourself. Let the people know who you are.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here, Tom. PJ Williams from Conspiracy Pills. I forgot to put our names on the bottom. I always do that. I'll have to add that in a second here. Abby's not joining us tonight, so it's an estrogen-free stream. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but I'll take it as exciting.
It'll be more aggressive and more fun.
Right, there we go.
Or at least one of those.
It'll be one of them. It'll be, back and forth, a little bit of each.
I was just realizing as the intro was finishing, PJ, that I had to yet toggle the Rumble and Odyssey on. So I just want to make sure that Rumble and Odyssey are up and running. I believe they are because they showed that they are on my end. I just want to make sure that they are on everyone else's end. It looks like Odyssey's working because people are asking where Abby is. So if Rumble works, let us know in the chat. If Odyssey's working, let us know in the chat. As always, if you could hit the like button on the stream, wherever you're watching, if it's on Rumble or Odyssey or YouTube, share a link to the show, help us grow it. I don't know. Are we cutting YouTube off at some point and going just to the other two, or what is the plan?
Let's do it. Yeah, we can do it towards the end. We'll go over to Rumble and Odyssey, and then we can ask us whatever you want. We can say whatever we want. Yeah.
Pete Buttigieg, because that's where I want to start this evening.
Pete
in Ohio, the most important thing, and only because you and I both live just northeast, northwest, depending on where you are. Northwest, we'll say, of where this incident is in Ohio. Now, I've never been to East Palestine, at least that I'm aware of, although I have to think maybe I drove through it at one point.
That's my thought too, is I had to have driven through this when I looked at a map, because it's right along where you would go if you're heading to like Pennsylvania, which I've driven to a few times. And that's what's crazy is for my job, I drive down to Ohio a lot, and I'm not currently going there, but like next round of bids, I could be like in this area like every week. So,
wear a mask.
Yeah. Well, this has to be an M95, right? That's what I was told.
No, you have to be a complete airtight double
suit.
Negative vent. Yeah, exactly.
I was told that the water and air is safe there. That's why they pulled water bottles off the shelves of supermarkets that were bottled near East Palestine, because it's safe.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I totally forgot to pull that story up, but there was some supermarket that pulled water bottles off the shelves that were bottled near East Palestine.
Really?
This week. Yeah. Because the water's safe.
Or maybe it was just like they got a huge bulk order and they were like, who the hell ordered 13 pallets of water bottles to be delivered?
Right.
And then cut to Donald Trump's like, who wants a water?
Yep.
That's what they complained about. I didn't save that one, but they complained that Donald Trump in his visit to Ohio gave out 13-year-old water. They were like, we looked at this, and even though it's Ice Mountain, it says it's from 2000 and whatever.
Yeah.
They're complaining about water from 2010.
Right. So Don't Vax Me says, convenient, it's East Palestine. I think it was East Jerusalem they would get their funding.
Well, dude, you want to know what's really interesting? Yeah, no fun. No kidding. If it was Jerusalem, oh, man. Hell, Michigan is about to become the new capital. They're moving it from Lansing to Hell under Whitmer. No. But I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure we have driven through East Palestine because we've gone to Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. we've gone to a couple different places where my wife wants to go visit just for a little bit.
Right.
On a day trip, and it kind of makes little sense on the way to DC or whatever, but we make it work. And so
I'm sure it's just one of those small towns that you drive through and never think about. Because no one had ever,
there and got like a Subway sandwich or something in an and I remember thinking like, it's kind of a weird place.
Drank some water straight out of the river, back when it was good.
Splashed my face, felt refreshed, took years off my life. No, but I am curious to think like East Palestine was one. There was another place in Connecticut, and I don't know if you heard of this in Canaan, Connecticut.
Yeah.
There was another derailment similar to this, or a truck accident where there was another big.
I'm trying to keep up with them because there was one in New York, there was one in Michigan, there was one in Texas, just in the last week.
The name of the city, like the Canaanites or like Canaan. Right, yeah. So they have Canaan in Connecticut that got this. You have East Palestine, which is kind of like Palestine. If you were targeting biblical cities, my wife even saw that. She's like, oh, that's kind of weird.
What was the name of the city in Michigan that it was? It wasn't.
Well, it was in Belleville, technically.
That's right. Yeah.
Van Buren,
Belleville. Yeah.
Detroit. Zoom out long enough, you see a butthole of the state.
Right. Talking about buttholes of Michigan, did you hear what they're doing with the residents of East Palestine now that they're evacuating some of them? They're taking them to Flint, Michigan, so they got cleaner water.
I should have seen that.
Yeah. So
hey, comedy, we're doing jokes out here.
But going back to our story, Mayor. I had to pull up the Not the Bee article on this one.
Gay Mayor. Why don't you say Gayer Pete? I've been calling him Gayer Pete.
Gayer Pete is a little bit more clever. Maybe you should work for the Bee.
I've been telling Seth in my dreams. He just doesn't respond in reality.
Well, so that's what's funny. People are asking where Abby's at. She's meeting the guys from the Babylon Bee this week. She's going to the Babylon Bee live in John Texas.
Better be with her.
Right. She's with
Those guys are smooth talkers, I'm telling you.
That Kyle Mann, I don't know.
Dude, if I was alone with Kyle Mann, I'd be calling Lauren like, get me out of here. He's going to seduce me with those eyes.
He's got the voice too, I think.
I'm kidding. I don't even know who that is.
Mark from PK says Michigan in the house. What's up? So yeah, Gayer Pete goes to East Palestine finally and refuses to answer questions about his absence. And this has been interesting. I've been following Savannah Hernandez quite a bit, and she's
bet you have.
I follow her stuff, and she's just been hounding
for the articles, right?
For the articles, obviously for the articles.
I subscribe for the articles. You're on her OnlyFans. Wait, no.
It's the articles, guys. The articles. Well, it's like, when you buy Playboy to read the articles.
Well, now you have to say the joke out loud. Go ahead.
Well, I forgot where I was going with it.
Savannah Hernandez has some video of her chasing Pete, and she's holding a handheld phone. Geez, we're not going to get through tonight. It's only 7:07.
No, we're not. I haven't had enough to drink yet. We'll get there. She's been chasing around trying to get him to answer questions, and this is kind of the response.
An entire 2.5 weeks actually here to respond to East Palestine. Will you apologize to the residents of this city for the slow response?
Notice that Pete has a fresh haircut. Like he had to have seen a barber / stylist within the last number of hours.
Right. Yeah,
that's a fresh trim up.
Yeah. He had to make sure he looked good for the people that are living in the apocalypse.
Yeah, going to Cancertown, USA, he's got to have a fresh cut.
If he really wanted if he wanted to relate to the people there, he should have shaved his head bald.
Just like Camel Joe or Joe Camel.
Of this city for the slow response. To the government's slow response, do you have any apology?
Just nothing at all. In fact, I watched quite a few videos. We won't play them all, but he was pretty much avoiding her and any other reporter all day until he got to his press pool with the approved reporters and the approved questions that they wanted to ask him. So,
I think that video was the video that Savannah Hernandez is taking from her camera.
That is, yeah.
Well, the video I sent you the link to is the video taken from behind her in that moment, and then she turns it around, and that clip continues.
Yeah, let's check it out. So here's the one you sent me.
Sure. So can we ask why it took him almost 3 weeks to get here? I'm sorry, I don't want to be on camera.
What was his personal?
So you can hear it. She says, I'm sorry, I'm happy to answer questions, but I don't want to be on camera. She's the press secretary of the Secretary of Transportation.
It's crazy that you have secretaries for secretaries. Yeah. But yeah.
It makes me want to be a little bit more misogynist.
Right.
Across America, would like to know. I'm happy to have a conversation with you.
I said earlier tonight, I was like, this seems like we should start beating up on the secretaries.
Okay, so that answer right there. I'm happy to have a conversation with you, but not in front of the press. That's only my job.
Yeah, she's like, can you get your cameras out of my face? It's really aggressive. And it's like, well, what's aggressive about it? I don't want to be recorded in case I lie to you.
Right. Yeah. You would think the press secretary might talk to the press. That would be my assumption.
Dude,
I guess that's
if I'm the press secretary, I want to get in front of people. I want to square up with them. I want to look good, dress well, and I want to look at them and then I want to lie to them right there in their face. I don't want to tell them. No, I'm kidding. But I don't want to tell them.
They're just lazy liars at this point, right?
She's like, listen, I'm willing to spin a yarn, but I don't want to have to do it and then have a record of it. So can you just...
Yeah, it's a double misogyny.
That's why I said that.
500% more misogyny tonight.
100%.
100% more. Whatever it is. We'll just make up a number.
No, I meant 100% that I agreed with your 500%.
For sure.
Over 9,000.
You know what? Just for that, 527% more misogyny.
The PJarchy.
Yeah. The pajarchy. I don't know. I don't like the sound of it.
Pajarchy.
Moving on, though. So there were some people who were willing to talk about the East Palestine stuff. Not the people who went there, not the guy who took 3 weeks to get there, or the press secretary whose job it is to talk to the press.
But not on camera.
Not on camera, though.
She'll talk to him, just
not on camera. Yeah.
Is she afraid of her own reflection?
Can we just not do this in front of a mirror, please?
I can't do this on a DSLR camera.
Yeah, I was going to say, is she worried it's a mirrored camera?
Only an LCD screen, please.
Right.
Maybe that's it. Maybe these people are literally evil and they don't want to have someone pull out like an old timey camera and snap a pic because it'll show them as like actually, Baphomet.
See the tentacles and stuff coming out. Yeah. So there was some people who did want to talk about this, but they like to talk about everything all the time. And for some reason, they're just too much fun to ignore. So let's go to The View. Let's go to The View and hear what
the yammering bitches of The View, as Norm would say.
Yeah, let's listen to what Joy Behar had to say about it.
Who, by the way, he placed someone with deep ties to the chemical industry in charge of the EPA's Chemical Safety Office. That's who you voted for in that district. Donald Trump, who reduces all safety. He did in those days.
Did you hear the audience there? Like, these have to be
play
like...
it again.
Yeah, it's crazy to me because even their audience turned against him at this.
His Chemical Safety Office. That's who you voted for in that district. Donald Trump.
Ooh, they're like, did you just blame the people of East Palestine for the train derailment that happened under Biden's watch, where Pete Buttigieg is the transportation secretary? You just blamed the people of this town that someone else decided to use thermite to blow up a train and then release a toxic cloud. That's what she just did.
Dude, I think it's even more... I mean, I think you're right. You're not wrong. I think it's even more nefarious than saying it's because you voted for Trump that this happened. Maybe it's that... Or maybe I'm just hearing you saying it differently. I think she's literally telling those people without realizing she's saying it this way. She's saying this happened and then parenthetically, and we are not helping with any of the cleanup and you're on your own because you voted for Trump. Like, she's saying the response and why you're dealing with it this way. This is who you voted for. This is, the consequence of, who you voted for. So it's not like, well, Trump made the infrastructure bad and because you voted for him, this is now a worse off country. And because of that, the train... No, it's not that.
No, and you're 100% right, because what she's saying...
We're punishing you for your vote, is what she's actually saying out loud.
And that is what she's saying, because if you go to the whole clip, and I want to play the whole thing, but she's just going through this list of like, Trump did this, and Trump did this, and Trump did this, and this is why the train derailed,
Thermite is based, just not in this case.
Yeah, right.
I can't click the things, but that's awesome.
Okay. Thermite is based. There we go. So what she's saying is Trump did this and that and the other, and that's what caused this train derailment. But what she's talking about is she's talking about the response. She's saying, you don't deserve the FEMA to come. You don't deserve Pete Buttigieg to get there within, a decent time frame to assure you that things are going to be taken care of. You don't deserve anything because you voted for Trump. That is the context of this, because outside of that, what she said doesn't make sense. Otherwise,
it's not even the context. It's what the content was. She's actually saying, this is your vote. Like, it's not even a metaphor. It's a directive. It's like a direct, what do they fucking call it? Who cares? It's after 7 and it's not the English language that you're putting me on for. But they would call it a directive something where they would just say the thing is a thing. It's not the metaphor, but it's almost an accusation by an association. So she's saying, hey, this is your vote. This is what you get. This is your just desserts.
Right. Jess actually says it right here. She says, that's the left. If you commit a sin in their religion of wokeism, you deserve natural disasters and death. It's exactly the same as like No, I mean, if you think about it, it's exactly the same as like, well, San Francisco deserves an earthquake because they're like super gay or something. They're just saying if you,
well,
right? But like,
PJ, be honest.
I'm not. Yeah, but
do you think that's possible?
Oh, I think it's entirely possible. I'm just saying they're doing the same. Their religion is wokeism, and that is why that this is a religious belief to them. The religious belief is you deserve the natural disasters because Mother Gaia is angry with you, essentially.
Well, can we just go down that little cul-de-sac of a tangent?
Yeah.
And it's just a small tangent, but it's a nice tight one to go down. Are you telling me that for San Francisco, for all the HARP information, for all the things that we know about government, that God wouldn't also be able to create earthquakes and say, well, if you can do it, I'm pretty sure the man upstairs is like, listen, sodomites.
Right. Yeah. But that is the thing, right? It's Sodom and Gomorrah, except it's reversed in their eyes. So instead of they get turned to pillars of salt because of their sins, against the God who created the universe, it's you get turned to a chemically reduced cancer victim because you didn't sign on to the Green New Deal. Because that's what you voted for. I
feel bad being 30 and thinking, hey, 140 some odd years ago, Los Angeles and San Francisco, you would have thought of those, well, maybe not that long ago. You would have thought of those cities as being like up and coming places to be. Los Angeles, the city of angels. San Francisco, named after a saint. Like you'd think at some point these places would be good places. Chicago used to be called the City of White or the White City because it was all white marble and everything was super wide streets. They demolished all of that to build that downtown Chicago. And when they say they built it racist because they left, underserved communities under the bridge, they're not entirely wrong. So it is an interesting thing to see the infrastructure in Ohio be labeled, well, this is a Trump thing. This is a Trump consequence. You voted for it. And in reality, what you're seeing is they're punishing people for having realized the game is rigged against them. The jig is now up. And so you're just going to be punished for having sprung that trap, so to speak. So you just used a whole bunch of mixed metaphors. I'll add one more. If Joy Behar is going to say, this is the consequence, this is your vote, I don't think you can't take it in any other way, but it's like an after threat. It's a threat of what already happened.
Yeah. There's no sympathy from Joy Behar. There's nothing saying, hey, we should see a better response. There's no calling on the current administration who's dealing with, they've been in 2 years. They've been in for 2 years and they're still going to blame Trump about a faulty train track in Ohio and everything else. Yeah, for sure. It won't end. They'll still blame, whoever they have to for as long as they have to. If you think about it, like when Obama was in office, everything was Bush. And then when it was good, it was Obama, even if it was like a policy that was put in under somebody else. When it was Trump, it was the children in cages. Doesn't matter. That was a Clinton era law and stuff like that. So it doesn't matter if the pictures of the kids in cages were taken while Obama was president. They don't care.
Well, Blankets had a good question, or rather, did something happen to my mic? Did I drop out there a minute ago? I guess it doesn't.
No, you were lagging a little bit for a second.
Son of a
you're back. Yeah.
Get off the internet up there. Blankets also had asked, will Abby be back next week? PJ, what do you say?
Abby will be back next week was her plan. I won't be. And if you guys are still doing the show next week, I won't be because it's my birthday, so I'm not going to be around. But yeah, Abby will be back.
Right. So. A week and a day from now, PJ turns the big 3-2.
Yeah, a week from now. Yep. So
right. A week and I thought you said a week and a day.
No, it's a week from today.
Oh, okay. So now I'm just misquoting. Okay,
it's all good. It's all
fake
good.
News.
Nobody cares.
15-yard penalty. So yeah, Abby will be back next week, and we'll button things up there. But yeah, we will not have PJ next week. Sounds like.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
And that's if Abby wants to do it. Otherwise, we'll throw the towel until the following week. We can all get together and talk it out.
For sure. So here's the thing too, and we were trying to keep track of this. I don't want to spend too much time trying to go through all these, but there's so many plant fires, train derailments, things like that. Real quick, Mr. DJ's over on Rumble. It's not the responsibility of the guy that's been out for years, and not a good look to say it's your fault for voting against the establishment. Everything at least only turns more people to us. Yeah.
That's what that's the blessing in disguise, is that for every stupid fouled up thing they say against us, it just sends more people into a boo. Like, you heard the audience and you pointed it out because I didn't hear it right away. when she says this is what you voted for, and the people are going, ooh. I don't think it's them saying ooh to the people who are being punished.
Think so?
I mean, I agree with you that it's them saying ooh to her comment, like ooh,
damn, did she really just blame the people?
Shit, did she say that? Like, yeah, I think that's what they're really doing. And half of that is Maury like encouraging, like ooh, you're in trouble, and the other half is like, ooh, shoosh, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, like, damn, that looked bad. That looked really bad. Yeah, I mean, think about this too. Like, they're calling. This is what's so crazy about the left too, is they keep calling Ohio this deep red state. It's not. It's always, not always, but it's been a swing state most of my life. It's voted red the last 2 cycles.
Ohio.
It's Ohio. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's the whole. I was just making sure I heard you right. Yeah. They've always said, as goes Ohio, so goes the nation.
Except
because
in the
Ohio
last
has been the swing state, right? Yeah. Well.
Which is, I know. I was just saying, I was pointing out like bellwethers and
And I think what is it? Williamson or Harrison County, something like that in Ohio is the county that has been the bellwether county. So like, if you really wanted to have your vote count, you'd move to that county.
Right. And then what I was getting at too, is like, they keep calling this a super red state. You got to think any Democrat in East Palestine right now is going, wow, this is what they're saying about us. I didn't even vote for Trump, and you're going to say I deserve for my kids to die of cancer and whatever other. We have no idea how bad this is going to be.
They don't. They're not being told. They're not hearing the things they're being called. I don't think.
You don't think so?
No, because they don't know. Do they pay attention?
No. Well, most people don't.
Do they pay attention to the news? Are they aware of things?
They probably don't pay attention to the view, but I bet you they're paying attention to the response.
And right. And I guess for a lot of them, you're probably right. But I would bet you there are still a lot of Democrats who are holed up in their homes going, Trump should have fixed the infrastructure. Hillary would have done infrastructure. Like they're just going to hear what CNN tells them.
Right.
And I
do wonder
up on trying to save everyone.
I think you're right about some people, but I do think there's enough people who are just didn't give a crap about politics and are now going, oh, wow, this really affects me. And I'm seeing what's happened. You know what I mean? Like they're seeing what's happening and they're like, oh,
it didn't matter with the $20 trillion of debt and war.
Dude, a lot of people don't care.
Now my water doesn't taste good.
A lot of people do not care until it hits them personally. And I think these people,
just sad.
Yeah, it is sad. And I agree with you. I'm just saying, like, the reality is a lot of these people probably didn't care, probably voted Democrats that thought it made them feel good about themselves because then nobody was attacking them on their Instagram profile and they weren't getting banned off of YouTube.
Well, and now Baxby's kind of saying it. Like he's saying Dems are dumb as hell. You can make a paint by dot for them. Still won't get it. You can lead them to all the information they need. They'll still get it wrong.
Right.
You could show them the same information that you and I had about COVID. They're still going to make the wrong call. So like, this is no different. You can show them, hey, look, the media is treating you this way. And you know how they're going to react? Yeah. If I didn't live in such a dumb fucking rurality, if I didn't live in such a stupid hick Trump area, they'd care. They don't think of themselves as a part of their community. They hate their community.
Yeah. I think you're right.
I think all Democrats hate their entire surrounding.
Even if it's a small segment of people who voted Democrat, I still believe that there's some people who are just doing what a lot of people I've heard have done in the past, where they're like, I never paid attention, I never thought about this stuff, and now I'm seeing that it affects me, and they're having to look at this. Like I've got really good friends who are super strong conservatives right now, who 2 years ago, 3 years ago, were just the type to just go along, and they just thought my parents voted Democrat, so I guess I will too. And the mainstream says it's good, so I'm just trusting them. And we saw, we've talked about this before, where people woke up when they saw the lie about there's good people on both sides. Like a lot of people watched that and they went, I saw the full clip. That is not how that went. And that woke people up. So this, there's going to be people who are not.
There are not good people on both sides, because I was always holding out hope for those white hooded friends.
Yeah, I know. I'm surprised. So. We got another one over here from Mr. DJ. Says supply chain reducing the food, broken infrastructure / disasters, warmongering to save their piggy bank puppet state and cover crimes, money laundering, crime rise, gas, energy reserves, economy, etc. Yeah, they'll ignore all of that. A lot of these people will, unfortunately. So thank you.
Yeah, is he making a to-do list?
I think he's just making I think he found Biden's diary. And he found Biden's to do.
Dude, you saw that too?
Yeah.
Did you see Biden's got a diary that got confiscated?
Yeah.
Guys, you thought Ashley Biden's diary was bad? Wait till you see Joe's. You thought that Ashley was like, Joe touches me. Wait till you hear about what Xi did to Joe. Joe Biden has a diary where it's like, here are how my meetings went with Xi. And then he draws a body diagram and he's like, here are all the places they touched me. No,
do you think
he actually does talk about his personal deals though? And here's what's fucking crazy. July, they're raiding Mar-a-Lago. Then right before the election, the FBI knowingly, now we know, it could have been the whole time, we don't know about other earlier incidents. We don't have proof of them, so we don't hear about them. The FBI is now collecting all the information that Joe Biden could have in his possession that Congress could just as easily order cops to go and seize. So now think it through like you're him. You're sitting there, it's July, and you're like, listen, no matter how we war game this, we can't steal enough seats in the 2022 midterms to steal the House. So they're going to investigate us. And then so what Joe does is go, okay, well, first, have them go and raid Trump so that we have the red carpet rolled out for searching people's homes for documents. We'll let the right make our argument that it should be no big deal, that it's a non-issue because you're at that level, yada, yada. Our people can on the left spin it that way for me too as the VP. Then all the FBI cronies go and clear out Joe's stuff and say it's part of an ongoing investigation so that evidence can't be used by Congress because they're two different things, Congress versus DOD investigators.
Right, yeah.
So the FBI, DOD, they can play their little shell game and cover up everything for Joe, while Congress just got given over to the opposition party, and now they have to have the appearance of looking at it. This creates the perfect structure for the Republican rhinos to say, like Kevin McCarthy, oh, we want to look at Joe, we want to look at Hunter, but we can't because the FBI and DOJ and all these other people have the documents. And that's the perfect excuse that they did all this for. That's just my little rant, and I'll shut up now.
So this Mech, you misunderstood what I was talking about. It says there are good people on both sides. What I was talking about was the Charlottesville riot quote.
The good people on both sides hoax.
Yeah, the good. Yeah. Look
maybe
it up.
Maybe he just meant that like the good racists aren't the Grand Dragons.
There we go.
He's like, listen, now there's some real good men in those white hoods. I'm just saying that they're not the ones leading the charge.
Yeah, there we go.
The KKK used to do a lot of outreach. Now we don't do a whole lot of charity. Dude, I did see a photo from 1992, so I thought it was interesting because it was my birth year, where it was like Montgomery, Alabama, and it was like a bunch of black police officers holding riot shields and riot visors over their little white helmets. It's the 90s.
Yeah.
And then a little white baby in the KKK cloak, like reaching out and touching the cop. Like it didn't know what it was doing. It just got dressed up like it was going to a first communion. And then it got given a weird, silly wizard's hat. Like this baby had no idea what it was doing there, being racist.
Racist baby right there.
Racist as hell, baby. Anyway, it's now the president of the United States.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, it was in 1992. But I was thinking, how is it that there was a KKK rally in Alabama in 1992?
Isn't that
Why
crazy?
couldn't it have been now? No, I'm kidding. Isn't that insane? When people say the KKK is a problem, I'm like, for when? Who? Like, in what decade are you living? But apparently it was 3 decades ago.
Apparently it was within our lifetime. Just not now.
Just shy of when I was born. The last cool one.
The last cool one. You know, I was always told growing up that there was this massive like white supremacist community in Michigan. I can't remember. Do you remember what city that is that people talk about?
Well, they wouldn't have me. I look Jewish. That's what BitChute tells me. And I'm Catholic and Irish. They would be like, get the fuck out 3 times.
Someone in chat is from Michigan. Mark is. Is Howell the one that everybody talks about as having like the largest KKK gathering in America?
Dude,
and I've never seen, like, it can't be that many people because I've never seen them. It's got to be
Allegan County.
It probably is. Who knows?
Meth capital of the United States.
Yeah. So as we were talking about,
I'm sorry, we're losing people on Rumble. So I want to just remind everyone, we don't do the drugs. We're just laughing about the people who do. If you could hit the like button, share a link to the show. Make sure that you grab a notification button if there is one to hit, so that you never miss a clip or a live stream. And then, like I said, jump into, I guess, the description link. The description that I put together for Rumble and Odyssey doesn't have the links. So you'll have to bounce over to where to find our links.
Over to solo.to/Last American Pubcast.
There you go.
Yeah. I'll put that up on the screen for you guys really quick. I think it's this one. Nope. There we go.
No, I know what I'm talking about. Are you like said the people that just kept voting until they found out how it's affected them? I realized.
Yeah, right.
I see. I
got what you're saying now. Yeah. I
it's
agree.
Like Flint. Flint now realizes like, oh, it wasn't a racial issue against Governor Snyder that got us lead in our pipes. it was 37 years of straight government Democrat rule.
Right.
All led by black and brown Democrats.
Eventually, everybody who wants to ignore politics, and generally speaking, people who ignore politics are going to vote Democrat because that is what's put into the mainstream media and the movies and their schools. So they just
go-to.
It's their go-to, right? It's just the default.
It's your home team.
So yeah, exactly. So my thought is that if your default is Democrat and you live in East Palestine and you're seeing the response, you're looking at this going, oh shit, I've been wrong. This default was stupid, and they're going to start doing some research. So that was my thought with it. So I agree with you, Mech.
Doing your own research is the first step in going
white
down
supremacy,
the rabbit hole.
I heard. Yeah,
that's what I heard. Yeah.
So,
did you read that article too? It's like the first. It's rooted in doing your own research, and you know what that means. And it's
who was that? Was that HuffPo or was that Washington Post?
Shit, I'm really trying to think of it, and I'm sorry.
It's all good.
I can't think of it.
Look that up for a second. I want to bring up this story really quick. So, we were talking earlier. Obviously, like there's been so many. I've heard the argument. I want to say so many different disasters going on. Fires, train derailments, food processing plants. And if you remember last year, we were told a 300% increase in food processing plants burning down is not out of the ordinary. Don't ask questions. And now we're seeing it now with train derailments. We've seen, I can't even keep track of them all, and I don't want to go through them all right now. We'll just eat up the whole stream. But now there's this uranium fire at the National Nuclear Security Administration in complex in Tennessee. And this was yesterday.
That's insane.
It is just absolutely insane. Emergency crews responded to a report of uranium fires at the Y-12 National Security Complex in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. And I guess what I'm saying is, does this to you feel like another part of their, another bunch of staged things to push another agenda? I know Abby's put it out there. She thinks that the train stuff, they're saying it's 1,000 derailments a year, which sounds insane and made up. So I kind of dug into it, and I think I was right on this, where basically what is going on with the train stuff is they're doing a bunch of trains are crashing right now, and they want you to think this is normal. And what they're saying by train derailments is, hey, we've got some crappy tracks, and once in a while, a wheel hops off the track, but it doesn't derail the train. We got to fix some old tracks. And because it's the same like two or three really bad tracks,
derailment. Like technically it was a censored derailment.
A censored derailment, yeah, exactly. So it's a technical. But they want you to think that train derailments are super common because they're going to start derailing trains. I think Tucker Carlson pointed out that a lot of these train derailments, there's these devices that are put on the tracks and are making them hop off, and it's just being covered up. So I'm thinking
that's people that are putting things on the tracks to derail them and fuck with to mess with the electrical.
Right. Yeah. So
I'm trying so hard not to swear so that people can make this a fun podcast to listen to with kids in the car. But reality is, you just can't fucking do it.
Yeah, it's impossible at this point. But yeah, I'm seeing this.
Lit asked, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on.
Go ahead.
Maybe there's a delay, PJ, because
we're having a few internet things. It might be me, it might be you. I've been having trouble with my internet.
It's just the two of us. We can. Okay, so Lit says, where is the hope in all this? These villains won't truly be held accountable. Nay, Lit, they will be held accountable. Let me get on my little pulpit here. They will be held accountable. They will be held accountable for eternity. See, it's folks like PJ and myself, and I'd like to think of you as being people who will see through this now, who will, in some small or great way, dedicate a part of their life to trying to make life better for those around them, and in some small way live a Christ-like life, so that you could eventually be forgiven of any misgivings and transgressions and sins here on earth, and go and live a good, wholesome, eternal life with your heavenly Father, and not the people who are doing these things who you think won't be punished here. That may be true. They may not be punished here in the 80 or so years that they're given. That ain't it, because that's not the point. And so I'm excited for that. If you think they're not being punished here, I'm like, oh, goody, because you don't know the sequel. The sequel's even hotter, and it's forever, and it doesn't end. So like whatever you're gearing up for, you got to remember, that's it. Like my goal is not to change people's minds so that they can all agree with me here today, so that I can try to, well, shoot. It's not trying to get everyone to change their mind from the left to the right. It's just to say, for as many people in the middle who don't know where they should think, I'm trying to let them see how I think.
Yeah, I'll add that. That was really good, but I'll add this to it. This is the one thing that I always tell people about the stuff we talk about with this show and with Conspiracy Pilled it's really blackpilling if you don't have that center in Christ. And that's kind of like, for me at least, why I can talk about this stuff and kind of do it with a smile and make jokes about it, because I don't see this as the end. And I think that's the thing that I think if there's so many Christians out there who are blackpilled, and they shouldn't be. I think that's the whole thing about it, is this is not the end. There's a sequel. So good way to put that, Tom. I think it's entirely true. So that's, to me, what allows me to just look at this stuff and kind of laugh at the corruption a little bit. And you still want to change it. You still want to do what you can and bring light to it. But you can't get defeated when you see bad people get away with things, because they're not getting away with it for forever. So
I don't want to say this out loud, but I feel like I have to, because we're talking honestly about it.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, we win in the end, but not in the way that you think that winning is. Winning isn't that all evil is conquered on earth. Right. It won't be. It will never be, actually. Like the Bible tells you, evil will never be conquered on earth until all of time is destroyed and everything is brought to nothing. So we're not going to win. We can have our wins. We can have battle wins, but the war is always ongoing. It's a spiritual war. And your goal is not to win it outright, because there is no such thing. And that will blackpill you and demoralize you for thinking there's no possible way to do that.
Yeah.
But you can win over the hearts and minds of a few individuals. You can help someone else's life be a little bit more positive by being the nice face that they are greeted by in the office, or, the person, you could be the person who waves them into traffic instead of being the guy that flips them the bird and drives past them. Like, you could make the conscious effort to just be a little bit better and make the world around you a little bit better too.
I think
only at the bottom of the first hour, and I'm being such a shithead preacher.
No. I want to add to this real quick. I think that's entirely true. And the thing that a lot of people get wrong, and I think this is true mostly because we live in such a digital age where everybody thinks that the only way to influence people is to have like X amount of followers and to do this and to do that and be big and be famous and whatever.
Hold a door open for an old lady.
You're exactly right. I think that you're going to affect, I think that your day-to-day job, this is why the Bible talks about doing your job to its absolute best. Being excellent in your work, even if you're a plumber, is one of the most Christian things you can do, because that's going to affect somebody that you know personally in a bigger way than someone with 1 million followers can. So it really comes down to being that day in and day out. So, and also, like, one of the other things I want to say to the opposite point of that a little bit is I get in these arguments with some people sometimes.
Mine was pretty godly, so if you're going to be
yours was godly, it's not opposite that way. Opposite is, well, you'll hear it, but let me play literal devil's advocate here for a minute.
Yeah, no. He's literally I'm the attorney for Satan.
He's not that
and actually,
bad,
I have a couple of things you need to sign here for Lucifer.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I've gotten into arguments a few times with people who go, their line of thinking is essentially, well, why do you care about politics? Why do you care about Roe versus Wade? We're going to heaven. And I think that's such a shit way to look at things too, where it's like, why do I care that people are slaughtering children? Why would I want to change that? Because I'm personally saved. And it's like, you're a terrible person. You haven't read your Bible
properly.
Why do you care if your brother is starving? Do matter. Right.
Why do you care if your brother is starving if you have eaten? Like, if you've already been fed, why do you care if your neighbor starves? Like, that's not at all what God would have done. Or God, that's not what Jesus would have done. Right. That's not what God would want you to do.
Right.
Not that I would know, but I can guess at it and take a stab at it in the dark. Trumpet over on Rumble says, for the $10 super chat, and that's very generous. Thank you, Trumpet.
Thank you.
She says, preach. And I'm adding the emphasis and pitch on that. Yeah. So Trumpet, if that's incorrect, you have to fact check me, but otherwise it's preach.
I'm pretty sure that was what was intended. I can kind of like read between the lines on that one, and that was the subtext.
Well, I did a read aloud, but just for the monitor only, so only I could hear it, and it said preach.
Yeah, there we go. I
think I can only do it 3 times the same way. And now it's
if you do it anymore, you're gonna start doing one of these, and it's gonna become something else. Yeah.
Oh, I see. You were going a different bros direction.
Yeah, I was going the bros
leave
direction.
It to PJ to bring up gay stuff.
We haven't even gotten into all the gay stuff. We talked about Gay or Pete, but there's more gay stuff in the news.
No,
guys.
I know. I'm just.
So,
dude, last night someone said that I was drunk, and I was honestly just feeling like slap happy, like how you do at a sleepover when it's like 2:30 in the morning and the funny commercials start coming on Comedy Central. Like I was just being silly and started talking about Frank a little bit, but we don't have to go into it. I just wanted to call it out before we get too far into this. PJ always goes into bros. Yep. And that's why I was hoping he was going to hit the I'm gay drop, but
dang it.
Or I feel gay job.
Gay. No, that's the wrong one.
The other one.
I forgot to set up my things. It's on here somewhere. Keep going.
He goes, I feel gay. Anyways, I probably shouldn't have lost my cool.
Feel gay.
There you go. I probably shouldn't have lost my temper and spilled the beans. But anyways, we can just continue. We don't have to go into it. We can talk in a couple weeks when Abby's back and we can all have our quiet little word and then we'll be moving on.
For show. So the reason I want to talk about the for
the record, guys, before the show, sorry to PJ, before the show, when I asked PJ, do you want to talk about this Frank thing at all? He goes, Frank who?
Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about.
So
all I'll say to it is I watched Tom's stream last night and he didn't say anything that was not true. So if you want to know more about it, it's there. But other than that, Frank who is my take on it. So one of the things I wanted to bring up too with these things going on, there was another fire
never
in
go
Ohio.
Full Buttigieg. You see that comment?
No.
Jesus Christ is Lord says never go full Buttigieg. That's gotta be just that little
judge.
Jesus Christ is Lord says
I gotta plan my board out better because I swear I've got a never go full retard button on here, but I don't know where it's at.
I'm taking a little snippet of that guy. I'm saving that. Jesus says, I'm going to tweet that. So if you are following me on Twitter, you can see this and boost it now.
There we go. I found it.
Everybody knows you never go full retard. Everybody knows you never go
full booty judge.
Everybody knows you never go full booty judge.
There we go.
I'm going to tweet this right now. Jesus said, now if you all go to @FloatShow and just go retweet that right now. This is Jesus Christ is Lord says never go full booty judge. It's a pretty good tweet, not gonna lie. I think it's pretty good.
Lit, you're banned from the show. When Abby's away, the gays will play.
No, don't vax me, bro. Asks Tom has Twitter again? Exclamation point, exclamation point. Yeah, dude.
I thought you were getting excited about the gays will play. I was a little concerned.
No, that's later. No, you were no. I was gonna say something about tummy sticks, but I don't know if enough people have watched Wedding Crashers to get that joke.
Yeah,
I had a Twitter, and then it got revoked, removed, deleted, nuked, sniped, and tranked. And I was just laying there unconscious for a long time on Twitter. I was just constantly, and I told everyone on stream, I was like, appeal, to the point where it was annoying, where I was just having fun with them because I just assumed it was the same person every time receiving a message. So it would be like, what was the next thing for your appeal that you wanted to add? And I'll be like, come on, please. You know you want me. Send. And then the next appeal will be like, you're missing out on your #1 tweeter. Send. And then it just got more and more ridiculous. And then they finally just accepted me back. It was like I bothered them enough that they allowed me back on. So I'm proud.
I'm proud of you. Yeah. You went full Karen on them.
I went full retard on them. Yes, for sure.
Mr. DJ is another one real quick. And then I want to pull up the story. Only a full tyrannical dystopia if everyone stands down, either pull them out of power, justice, or they themselves will flee, or there's a revolution when they push too far, stand if needed, not hide. Yeah. Bingo. That's the thing. You always stand.
Stand if needed. You don't have to be outspoken, just stand. It's a number of bodies that we need.
Yep. Quick point here. I don't know if anybody saw that Asian guy recently. There was this clip going around about him, and I didn't pull it up because I'm just thinking about this now. There's this Asian guy who...
Is that how you describe him?
Yeah, well, because he was on a panel about Asians. So, it's very specific.
Oh, okay. It was like literally the based Asian guy.
Yes, this guy. So, he was on this panel, and there's all these people around him, and you can see him kind of flinch, like he thinks he's going to get smacked in the back of the head by all these angry lesbians and stuff behind him. And he's basically laying out, he's like, hey, the problem isn't racism. It's that people don't stay married. People, don't finish high school. The Asian community does better because we stay married. We focus on education. We don't drop out of school. We don't commit crimes. And the reason I want to bring this up is his voice was shaking. You could actually tell he was nervous to say this. And I think that makes him one of the bravest people out there because it's the people who are afraid, who are scared and still say the thing. And stand up for themselves. So you don't have to do anything more than just stand and just not back down. And that is more than enough. And I think it's actually, in a way, more powerful when you are afraid to do it and you do it anyway. So
I regret not knowing the answer to the question because it's a bad lawyer in me to ask a question and know the answer to. But is there something different between bravery and courage? Is there a difference in...
Yeah, I don't know. Definitionally, I don't know.
So they said bravery is more spontaneous, like a rooster protecting the hens. I'm adding that. Just all of a sudden instinctively.
Courage is more like a lifestyle thing.
Yeah, courage would be like, hey, you acknowledge the risk, you choose it anyway. Bravery would be like, you don't think about the risk, you're just brave. You just do. You just act. You just run into the fire.
Like adrenaline.
Courage is like, I see the building is on fire. It's been on fire for a week. I still have to go in there.
A good way to put it is like bravery would be your flight or fight response kicks in and you choose fight. And then courage would be you're standing outside of the building. Yeah. The courage would be standing outside of the burning building and being like, I'm going to go in. So that's interesting. Yeah. So we were talking about these train derailments and stuff like that. There's one more thing that happened in Ohio this week that has some interesting tie-ins to it. 5 environmental consultants en route to the Ohio plant explosion site died in a plane crash after taking off from, guess where? The Clinton National Airport in Arkansas. So I didn't even look that much into this story, but apparently there was this big explosion at an Ohio metal factory, just to go along with everything else. Again, I can't keep up with these things. There's train derailments, there's explosions, there's fires, there's uranium on fire, chemicals being poured into our skies.
Uranium on fire, cats and dogs sleeping together.
Yeah, exactly. All these things. And in the midst of all this, there's these consultants that are heading out to check out what's going on at this other tragic thing that happened in Ohio. And they just happened to die in a plane crash when leaving the Clinton National. My thought on this was, who gets on a plane from the Clinton National? What do you expect to happen?
Well, the body count to go up.
Right. I'm not saying I don't feel bad for these people, but the signs were there, I think.
Maybe it's just that they're too localized. They're so ingrained. That's the airport they go out of. They don't think that when it matters, that's where they're going to be killed from.
I'm just still shocked to find out there's a Clinton airport in Arkansas. I had no idea.
Oh, just wait until you find out about the Clinton morgue.
It's full. Very full.
It's just chock full.
Chock full. So here's a little.
Dude, I sent you a link, and I don't want to. I'm not disrupting, but I do just want to highlight because it's it's almost 8:00. We may have. I mean, assuming that the show would continue on for at least 3 more weeks, we could yet still have Steve Inman as a guest.
Oh, yeah,
who is absolutely. A guy who I soft booked. I told him in December we'd love to have him on. He said anytime after January, whatever date. So it's right now. It's now would be an eligible time. And he just posted this picture of a video of another saboteur trying to this time take down not a train, but a tractor tire. And you can see it doesn't end well for him. If you don't know who Steve Inman is by name, maybe you'll know him by video if PJ pulls it up. There's a video of the voiceover. Steve Inman does a lot of voiceover work for sports, say for sports commentary. And he does a wonderful job of the lefties who get punched, kicked, stabbed, blown up, etc. in the face or in any other part of their body, any extremity, really. So it's just gorgeous here.
Well, it's a perfect example of a liberal dabbing you with lies from watching too much CNN until the facts blow up in his freaking face, and then he's running away like a little soy bitch with a trail of soy piss to follow. Let's be honest, though, even though the facts blow up in their face, they'll still be back to do the same shit all over again. Emotional damage, triggering tears of soy, and this is the end result.
Oh, bitch, get out the way. Get out the way, bitch, get out the way. Oh.
So that's his ludicrous cam.
Oh my gosh.
That's Steve Inman. I'd love to get Steve Inman on. He said he'd love to come on. He'd like to do the Last American Pubcast and hang out with us. I just need to get a date for him to come on. So if anyone's interested in seeing that, let us know in the chat. And then maybe we can convince Abby and PJ to want to do that one.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds like a lot of fun for sure.
I'm throwing you guys. I shouldn't be doing this, but I've been dogging you by saying we got to convince these guys to do it, because I really want the audience to tell you how much it means to them. You know how many people have said this is the best show they've found? They can't find another good one like it. They don't want it to go anywhere. It's a super secret surprise that's only about to just blow up and become, incredibly famous and make us all egotistical assholes. It would be great. But until then, I just want you to see.
That has been my life goal, to become an egotistical asshole at some point. I haven't got there yet.
Telling me you're kind of close. No. But the people at home love the show and they want you to know it, and I wanted you to see that too.
Blankets over here says, any chance you could make LAP next Friday instead of Thursday because I'll be gone for my birthday? I mean, I could. I don't know what's up with Abby.
I don't know why we couldn't make it a Friday show.
I'm free next Friday, so if that's something we want to do, I'm fine with it. I
can just speak for Abby because she's a lady. It's fun to make those jokes knowing like my wife wears the pants and kicks the ass in this house. So I'm along for the ride. I'm happy that she's allowed me to do this.
There you go. Yep. That's where we're all at, right? So the reason I wanted to bring up this Ohio thing, I'm trying to get us back on track a little bit. These guys died in this
derailing
plane
you
crash.
like a leftist.
It's all good. It's all good, man. There's a certain way. Here's the thing. There's this metal plant in Ohio that blows up. And obviously these people are not the ones they want checking this out because we found out the type of people they want looking into these incidents. And it's the people who caused them. We got this water testing after the Ohio derailment is led by the rail company itself. And people are calling it sloppy. Well, I wonder why, because they said that the water in the air is safe and it's pretty clearly not safe. And it doesn't take a genius to go, you know, that giant black circle you can see from space in the clouds up there? That's probably not good for people's health. And we're starting to see the effects of this. This one was, thank you to Cody, Don't Vax Me, who's in chat, who posted this on Twitter. And we'll play this really quick. So this is acid rain. I never thought acid rain was a real thing. It was such a propaganda thing in like 1995. And then we never saw it, so I was just assumed it didn't exist.
I was gonna say, in like third grade, second grade, I remember hearing about acid rain.
And it rained last night. Turned to snow today, or whatever this might be. Anyways, I noticed these bubbles on my truck.
They're not bubbles.
Clear coat.
It's not ice.
That's his clear coat.
Look at
that.
Fuck. Well, don't do that to it, dude.
It's taking the clear coat right off my truck. Ohio.
Yeah.
Oh my dude. Did you see the video of the ladies with chickens? Because that one's a heartbreaker. Because not that it's like, 4 chickens she has, but it's like, dude, I got 7 chickens. If 4 of them died, I'd be a mess. In fact, I know for a fact I would be because it happened last year.
Oh man, that sucks.
Well, they got out and then they didn't get back in, and then Owl ate them for lunch and dinner overnight. So not my fault. It was my fault, but we learned.
We almost lost a rabbit today. My daughter didn't shut the rabbit cage, and we had to chase it around the yard in the woods for like an hour.
I don't know why I just looked behind me to see if my wife was there. Dude, I want so badly. I know. I was like, oh God. I want so badly to get a little rabbit hutch because they're right there at the store. And they're right there and they're so easy. And I could just get a little rabbit hutch and then just keep bunnies. Oh my God. How fucking. But my wife doesn't want them. But she did agree to more chickens so I can get chicks this season. Yay. We got the coop already funded. Thank you for the Last American Pubcast people who are also on the float show who watched that and supported that effort and endeavor because we funded it completely. We got funding secured for the security cameras as well. Now we just need to fund about $10, about $10 is what we need for the chicks themselves. They actually cost money, but the chicks are in. That was really the only reason I'm bringing it up. I'm so excited. The chicks are in at the store today. So if you were interested in getting chickens and you live in my neighborhood, the chicks are in. You can go pick them up today.
Remind me later. My dad is opening a turkey farm right now, and they've been putting all the little baby turkeys in, and they send me all these videos. I'll have to send you one. They've got like these, hundreds or thousands. I don't know how many now it is now.
Do they want to give a turkey away to live with the chickens and pretend it's a chicken?
Yeah, I mean, we could see. Probably got an extra one.
You know how cute that would be to see like a turkey that thinks it's a chicken,
right?
Just see a turkey like just strutting around like it's a turkey.
What was that
biggest chicken there is?
The ugly duckling, remember? And it was a swan. There you go. It's like the ugly chicken.
It kind of reminds me of the "Are you my mother? Are you my mother? Are you my mother?"
Is that what I'm thinking of?
The little like, I don't know if it's a duck, it's a something. It goes around and asks everyone if it's its mother, and it's a different animal, but it's not its mother. All right, now I got to look it up. Jesus.
All right, while you're looking that up. So, the Clintons have been busy lately as they always are.
It's so cute, and it's a little bit that's so sweet.
You have a wait, Jersey girl says she has a turkin. What is a turkin?
It's a turkey chicken.
Turkey chicken? Is that a real
male
thing?
Turkey that nailed a little lady hen. Oh yeah, that's real.
Oh,
they don't. They're not able to breed themselves though.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can pull this one up or if it's not even worthwhile, but I'm just saying everyone should have this book on hand. And if anyone wants to send it for little wee baby floats, there's a P.O. box attached to my channel. But I'm not going to buy that yet because we don't have a baby here yet.
The most recent children's book I got was from Abby. It was the Johnny the Walrus she got for my kids.
Well, that's kind of nice. That's a nice little Matt Walsh throw away.
Yeah. Yeah. I know he's been getting a lot of attacks this week. We don't have to get into it, but I
love Matt Walsh. We should watch his Dylan Mulvaney takedown just because we should root him on.
Right? That's exactly what people have been attacking me over. I'm like, I don't think he was too harsh at all, but
don't vax me.
Look, let me just put it this way and I'll drop it. But like this guy, this is people. I truly believe the reason people are mad at Matt Walsh is because on some level they see Dylan Mulvaney as a woman, because no one would ever be this mad if he was talking about another man, ever. But they seem to be this mad because he's talking about a man that even they have subconsciously perceived as a woman, I think. Because all he said was, hey, you're not a woman. You'll never be beautiful like a woman because you're a dude. And that's I've watched the video multiple times. That's my take on it. I don't care if people are mad.
Yeah, like I guess I can see this. Like if someone, sorry, I wasn't trying to anxiously wait. Like, yeah, are you done? No, I was thinking number one, don't vax me. I was just deep in thought, frankly. Don't vax me says, can we not super chat? You can. It's just on Rumble or on Odyssey. And I don't think Odyssey. There's a limit to what you can do, but for right now, we know for sure Rumble works. So you can definitely super chat on Rumble if you wanted to. We're not begging for it, but we would love it. But no, I don't think that it's. Well, I almost want to hold my tongue and wait because I have a feeling. Well, yeah, I'll just wait.
Okay, fair enough. So I want to go back to this Clinton thing really quick. So the Clintons have been busy this week, and not this week. This is what's crazy. I want to talk about the story.
I can't wait. I have to say it. Sorry, Dylan Mulvaney. He's not a girl, but I'm sure that some people think of it as a girl, and I think that's why. Like, if you saw someone who was Down syndrome, and you knew they were retarded, you'd be mad if someone was making fun of them. You'd be offended because you're like, excuse me, that person's incapable. How dare that kind of a feeling?
Right, but that's my point. Is they're treating it like it's some type of chivalry, and that's exactly what I think is happening. I think these people are treating it like it's chivalry because in their mind they see Dylan Mulvaney as a woman, and they don't want to admit that.
It's not that.
Well, it's because he's retarded.
That's it.
Yeah. That's
and they don't want you to mock someone who is clearly fucking mentally disabled. Everyone on the left who's allowing it is going. Yeah, they are a woman. How dare you? Because they're winking at you in their brain. They just think that you're going to wink back. And we're all going, fuck you. We're not doing that shit. No. My kid doesn't know the wink. My kid doesn't know that it's all an inside joke to allow that person with a mental disability to think they're a woman when they're a man or vice versa. The kid just thinks that now you're blending reality.
Right. And I think the whole Dylan Mulvaney thing is different than let's say, because I've tried to be understanding of people who have been raised in a society that just brainwashes the crap out of them and hurts these young girls and stuff like that. If you read Irreversible Damage by Abigail Schreier, it's like, the teenage girls right now are going through a lot. It's being pushed on them so hard. Dylan Mulvaney is a guy who threatens women on Twitter and advocates to mutilate children. I just have no sympathy for this guy at all. And if we actually treated him like we say as conservatives that he is as a man, what Matt Walsh said was what you would say to another man who is abusing women and children, which is exactly what Dylan Mulvaney's doing. So I got to support him on that one for sure.
Dude, you'd be surprised to see a Dylan Mulvaney in any other world but a world that allows this to continue. Like there's no affront to a guy like Dylan Mulvaney, because if there were, you'd hear about them being found somewhere. And I'm trying to say this in a nice way. And I don't know if it's almost 8:00. We could probably ditch YouTube and move to the others, but you could see it happening where you find a person like Dylan Mulvaney, or you find a person like the guy who is at the high school diddling all the little girls or whatever it is.
Right.
You find someone who is abusing and advocating for the abuse of children. And in any other decade, you'd find them dead somewhere in a ditch. Today, we find them trending on Instagram.
Yeah. And then even the conservatives are soft pedaling like, well, you can't be mean to this person. And I think it's so weak. I think this is why we lose. I think this is why we lose so often, so all the time, because instead of the story being, hey, Dylan Mulvaney is an abusive piece of crap who threatens women and advocates for the abuse of children, it's Matt Walsh was a little too mean, wasn't he? And if that's the story, then come on.
He didn't call for violence.
Which is what you would, I'm sorry, but this is what you would normally do to a man who's abusing children. Like,
not even that. You'd act on it, and then they'd find him in a ditch. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, they would find the guy later, and they'd go, wow, I guess people really aren't supportive of this. Instead of, wow, I guess that one guy has the balls to say he's not supportive of it. God forbid anyone act on it.
Right. God forbid anyone do anything to protect women and children, because calling him names is too harsh.
Right.
I don't know.
Simply separating him from society would be too much, let alone, castigating him to the point where he would want to flee.
Taking away his Instagram would be too much,
Yeah, didn't I'm wrong, but didn't the Mulvaney character also get like facial surgery to change the nose so that it looks more feminine?
Yeah, he got plastic surgery recently, and that's the whole thing. Is he came back out after his plastic surgery, and he's like, look how pretty I am now. I've gotten like 9 pounds of makeup and hair extensions and plastic surgery. And he's like, this is the most beautiful I'll ever be. And that was Matt Walsh's whole point, is you can't be beautiful because you're not a woman and you don't pass as one. And that's the honest thing that everybody should be saying. He doesn't pass as a woman. I don't care how much makeup and hair extensions and whatever.
Wait, you don't think he looks like a woman?
I don't think he passes as a real woman.
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean? Like,
right, like if you didn't know who it was, you wouldn't see him and go, that's a lady.
No, you wouldn't be fooled.
Go, that's a really feminine man.
Exactly. And the voice is a dead giveaway in this case. And you know what? It doesn't matter if he's passing. I think that's the thing that we also have to get over. It doesn't matter that he's whether someone is quote unquote passing or not. It doesn't matter. Like,
it's even worse.
Right.
It means they're further down the abusive rabbit hole. No one does this to themselves.
Yeah.
Like, a doctor had to okay him doing this to himself. A physician prior to had to okay him on hormones. A therapist prior to had to okay him to go and see a physician. All of these different people are accessories to his bodily mutilation, dysmorphia. It's sad. I don't want to get stuck on it because Dylan's just a loser's weirdo, but
Right. I do want to bring up one more thing about this, and I'll give you guys proof of why I think this is why I think that the quote unquote conservatives, and we can get into that later if we want to, about why I think most of these influencers in the conservative movement are just not actually conservative. They're just disaffected liberals. That I actually think that he's a woman. That's because the support that people have come out about with Jeffree Star now. And this pissed me off so much this week because we've made this joke before, Tom, where we said it's going to be the conservatives saying, well, the left are the real transphobes. And that's exactly what we're seeing this week. And I cannot believe the support that, and I'm not going to.
Isn't this who Kanye hooked up with?
Probably. Let's watch the clip and then I'll bash on.
Look at that link I sent you too.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not into all the other bullshit. I think.
What other bullshit?
The they and them.
Yeah.
And all that extra shit that we added during the pandemic because everyone was so bored on their fucking houses. They just started to make up more shit and more shit.
More stuff.
Yeah. That's where the conservatives like me because I'm just real.
Yeah, you do have a conservative vibe to you.
You're not they and them. You're trans, you're male or you're female.
And you're standing on that.
Get so mad when I say that. How are you a they? What the fuck does that mean? It's stupid is what it is.
Yeah. All right, so people are praising him. This literally comes from a page called End Wokeness, and they're praising him, and all the comments are praising him. End Wokeness. The guy goes on to say there's only really 3 categories of people. There's men, there's women, and there's trans. So he's admitting that there's alternative pronouns, I guess, or at least alternative genders, that this whole thing exists. Yeah. And people are praising this guy. So it's like, when here's what really bothers me. He says, this is why conservatives like me. And the other guy says, you have a very conservative vibe to you. The word means nothing anymore. And I don't even want to call myself a conservative anymore not because I don't know what it means and not because I don't think that I am one technically. I think that the problem is we have a what do I want to call this? Post-conservative movement. And what I mean by that is it's not the modern conservatives that are the problem. Modern conservatism comes back to William F. Buckley Jr., in the 1950s when he wrote the book God and Man at Yale. That is where the modern conservative movement comes from. If you listen to people like, not that you have to like these people, if you listen to people like Michael Knowles, that's what he talks about. That's where he gets his ideas from. That would be the modern conservative ideal, right? And I've actually, like, this question's been bothering me for the last year. I'm like, I call myself a conservative, but I don't agree with like a lot of the big influencers. Am I wrong in using this word? So I've read tons of books on this. I read this whole college study course about like the history of conservatism going back to England into modern day America. My point is, this is not conservative. And the fact that quote unquote conservatives are like falling for this. The left understands the art of the deal better than we do. And that's the whole point I'm trying to make is the left will say, hey, let's push they, them, and frog self. And then the conservatives will get so annoyed with this, they'll go, okay, well, we'll take the pink-haired pedophile Jeffree Star, but as long as we don't have they, them. And then they're like praising this guy. And what's crazy to me is everybody's like, well, no, it's good that he's saying this. It's like you don't need a pink-haired pedophile to make your points. You really don't have to agree with him. There's not this middle ground where you can be like, all right, once you've accepted the middle ground, you've lost. So you're accepting the middle ground going, I guess trans is a thing, and people really can, because if trans is a thing, that means men can transition into being women, women can transition into being men. That's the only definitional reason for that word. That's literally what you're accepting in order to start praising Jeffree Star. You've already lost the battle. Now they're going to go to, well, now you can have neo pronouns. You'd be like, well, no, not neo pronouns. Let's stick with like they, them, and like zer, not this like frog and frog self stuff. It's going to continue to go this way forever if you keep doing this. So everybody who's out there praising Jeffree Star this week, I'll get off my high horse in a minute, but it pissed me off so much. And that's why I see this stuff about Dylan Mulvaney. I'm like, the conservative movement doesn't give a shit about winning the culture war. They don't give a shit about protecting women and children. They just want to be accepted by Jeffree Star, and they want to be accepted by the disaffected liberals and the libertarians by not being too mean to Dylan Mulvaney. That's my pitch. Sorry, I didn't mean to like rant. It was on my mind all week.
No, I mean it's good, and honestly, I can see a lot of that being the case when a person like Jeff and when a guy like Jeffree Star is the one that the cool surfer-esque podcast host is being like, you have a very conservative vibe to you. Like he doesn't have a conservative bone in his body.
What's he conserving?
Cum in his stomach. I would boil it down to this. When people hear the word conservative, the first thing they hear is con.
Right.
And in the mainstream establishment push for bullshit being con anything, that is a good thing. So when they are like, well, I don't agree with this, anytime they get off the woke bandwagon, they're really just choosing their timeline post. Like where in the timeline are they choosing to get off? Because that's where they're choosing in their, where are you in the con against this establishment? We have an establishment push. It's very clear. It's an anti-trans, but anti-human movement.
Right.
It's transhumanist, so it can be anti-humanist. And the people who realize that halfway along the transhumanist train, when they hop off, like Jeffree Star, when he goes, whoa, I was all about, changing my look and my figure until I couldn't recognize myself because I thought it would be fun. But that doesn't mean I want to not recognize my principles or any beliefs. When he gets to that point, he gets off the bandwagon. Now he can be another plot point in this huge, long timeline of data points of different instances of people saying, okay, now it's too far. Now it's too woke.
Is this not the same thing as...
We don't have a bandwagon going the other way of too conservative. We need that.
Is this not the same thing that we talked about with Tulsi Gabbard? People are like, oh, well, Tulsi Gabbard is like anti-gun and, pro all these things that we don't agree with, but she got off the bandwagon, and the bandwagon might be way far to the left of where I'm currently at, but now I'm going to make sure, because I want to feel accepted and I want to feel like there's people fighting with me, and it's not enough that there's people fighting, real conservatives fighting with me. I want the tent to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and that means I'll have to expand it to include Tulsi Gabbard and everything that she believes, because I want to feel like we're not alone in this fight. I don't know what it is, but like this whole acceptance thing, it constantly happens. It doesn't matter how far left they went, as long as they got off the bandwagon and didn't keep going left, that's conservative now. And that's bullcrap.
Yeah.
Jeffree
Star,
why
I think we need a different bandwagon going the other way.
Right.
Like we need a push. Like, and God forbid it that I even say it, but Tim Pool makes a good point when he says the Democrats demand restricting guns, removing guns, limiting guns. We never say, hey, we have control of this district. We want to push a bill forward that provides $500 vouchers to every citizen for a gun. Like, we don't ask for things. We only ever defend. It's like we're always playing defense.
We never go on offense ever. And then as soon as Matt Walsh goes on offense, everybody turns against him. That's my point. And that's what's made me so mad this week is we go on defense constantly. And if Matt Walsh just says, well, I don't agree, and that's me being on defense, you know,
neutral.
that's fine.
He's being
right.
slash
neutral,
offense defense. He's doing either. He's like, I'm not being defensive. I'm just saying no. They're like, oh, you're not being defensive like we are. You should be defensive and say that you're sorry for your opinion. That's what they really want. They want him to apologize for how he feels so he won't say it.
That's why people hate Matt Walsh, but guess who's been more effective? Again, I'm not trying to be like a Matt Walsh simp. No one in the conservative movement has in the last year been more effective than Matt Walsh.
Dude, you
don't have to agree with everything he says. No one's been more effective than him.
There's a Matt Walsh shape right there against your cheek on the inside.
I don't care, man. I don't care.
I'm wondering what's going on.
Shut down a gender clinic. Put out the most influential documentary.
DJ, can you talk about Matt Walsh for like 80 seconds so I can go to
sure,
the bathroom?
Yeah. No, I was just saying, like, for real. Is he going? Okay. For real, like, think about this and tell me in chat. Has anyone in the conservative movement, and I could be wrong on this, been more effective than Matt Walsh? Again, not trying to be a simp for him. There's the gender clinic in Tennessee that got shut down. Then they tried to blame him for being a terrorist, whatever. There's the most influential documentary on the gender movement. This is the person who hasn't backed down on this road the entire way. And because of that, he's been effective. And I think that's why the conservative establishment hates him. I think they want to be disaffected. I honestly, I think it goes as far as they want to lose elections a lot of times because the Republican Party, the big con, whatever, their numbers are better under a Democrat administration. Their numbers are better when they're defensive. Because as much as the right claims that the left wants to play victim all the time, that's the right playing victim. And the right wants to be victim to the regime, to the establishment, to the Dylan Mulvaney's of the world. And as long as we are looked at and get the sympathy dollars from being the victims ourselves, that's what's happening. I truly think, like, I no longer want to hear people who don't want to actually do anything and affect any real change complain that the left is a victim mentality. That is all that the big con conservative movement has become. It's become, how can we make money from losing? Don't Vax Me. $30 Rumble rant. Thank you so much, Don't Vax Me. Says, love this show. Favorite political show. Love and prayers. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you. Lit. Let's check this one out. Matt Walsh is by far the most effective conservative activist in the movement. No one else has taken offense like he has. Most conservatives are content to wish pro-life thoughts, and that's it. Okay, some major good points there, and Tom's back. So you called him, and Matt Walsh calls himself this too. You called him an activist. That right there is the word that the right doesn't want. The right does not want you to be activists. They want you to be victims.
If you're an activist, then you're empowered. If you're a victim, then you're a coward.
Do you think you were away when I said this? But do you think I'm right that the big conservative movement wants to lose and play the victim card just as much as the left wants to play victim card?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same reason why we wanted to. Why a lot of the rhinos are mad about Roe v. Wade being
exact. That's where I was going to go next.
They want to have their dinners about how they need to overturn abortion.
But now they've already lost their abortion funding. Yeah.
Now they only have 28 states where they can do that. And that's how they see it. It's big business and everyone takes a cut. It's sad. That's why we're in it, because we're too stupid to see it that way off the bat. We're like, hey, let's try to be good patriots online and try to change some minds. And that's what we're doing. That's what I'm doing. PJ's in it for the business.
That's what all it is. Knowledge is power. I don't follow him at all, to be honest. I like that he didn't back down, and anyone telling him to tone down should be remembered. Here's the thing. I'm not even saying you have to like Matt Walsh or agree with him. I'm just saying it's important to recognize that he's been effective, and you can take a lesson from that. I think we could all learn from Matt Walsh and how effective he's been. Mr. DJ's has got some chats I didn't mean to miss over here.
And Don't Vax Me, I think, says, or did you already get to that one?
I got to that one, yeah. But thank you again, Don't Vax Me. Mr. DJ says the purge includes the weak and cowardly, with the outright enemies attempting to walk among us, from politicians to personalities. Peaceful for now. Yeah. So here's the thing too. The purge on our own side, I think, has to be sometimes the weak and cowardly. Like, I really think we have to get rid. It's not just who we see as rhinos in Congress and Senate. I think that
it's on our side. It's in the forums.
It's in the forums. It's in the podcasting space. It's in the influencer space.
Dude, I have said this for I think now maybe 2 years, or maybe not 2 years, but I've said it for a long time now. Like, the first people that we go after when the lights go out aren't the left. It's the people on the right who will be the first narcs and whistleblowers. Like the people on the right who say, oh, we shouldn't fight election fraud. You just have to vote harder next time. The people who are obstacles to change on your own team, the weak links, they get cut first so that you attack with a strong chain. You don't go in thinking, hey, I know my neighbor down the street. I know that, they agree with me, but they won't say anything. That's not enough. That's not a guy that you invite to go with you out, to the rally. And maybe just to make it a little bit more plain, the weakest link is the chain is as strong as the weakest link. You don't want to have a bunch of people on your side politically who don't have the stomach for what needs to be done. And you certainly don't invite them out on the night of what needs to be done if you're not sure that they can go with it.
Yeah. I'm going to disagree with Slim Pickens real quick here. Nothing makes conservatives like Democrats. Nothing makes conservatives like Democrat control. I was pissed because Roe v. Wade gave the left something to run on 2022. They should have waited until now. What you're missing here is that you would rather, in this scenario, you would rather have a couple of more rhinos get in and babies die. Like, this is the thing. There's a actual real world
thousands
cost.
of babies. Tens of thousands of babies.
Exactly. We're looking at this as statistics. You're not thinking about this as an actual literal lives were saved. The earlier Roe v. Wade gets turned over, damn the elections, the earlier that Roe v. Wade got turned over, the more actual human life was saved. And I can't look at it as callously as you, and I think that's a wrong take. Another one from Mr. DJ's over here says, that's not the that's the kind of people we want out of the party / movement. No squishes, no lesser evils, no concessions, no deals, etc. These are the establishment siding scum that needs uprooted. Yeah, I think that's exactly what Tom was saying.
Root and stem, all of it. Because it's been too often that we've seen it perennially ripped out. You see someone go after the flowering of the problem, but you don't see them go after the root of it. And we kind of joked about this before. Joe McCarthy had a couple good decades, the 70s and really the 80s looked real sharp because of Joe McCarthy's work going after commies before. And so, hey, if we went after a bunch of people who are anti-American now, you'd see a very, very prosperous 20 or so years. And I think that's what people want. They're dying for it at this point. They would literally die for it at this point.
Mm-hmm. Here's a question that makes me think of, do you think that that's why there's so much conservative infighting going on right now? Do you think that there's like the battle is finally coming to a head between actual conservatives and like
you want to know what I really think?
Yeah, what do you think?
I think the reason you're seeing more rift now than ever amongst conservative voices is because they are more powerful now than ever.
Yeah.
And that's not a good, bad, or indifferent thing if you're
that makes sense.
Just looking at it from a neutral perspective, but from where I sit, like that's a good thing. The fact that Crowder's voice echoes as big as it does, right, wrong, or different, or bi, is a good thing. Right. The fact that the Daily Wire has the reach and the impact that they do is a good thing. And I don't care if they're button heads because, like a pizza pie, the bigger you go up the piece, the wider it is. Eventually, they're going to be button heads. That just means everyone's growing. You're getting more impactful. You think CBS and ABC are griping about who gets what anchor? Nope. They're desperate for you to know who their next anchor will be after they promote them with millions of dollars.
Yeah.
You don't need that for the people on the right. And so frankly, I don't think it's a problem that there's a lot of, they call it infighting or just negativity or a little bit of a jib and jibe back and forth. I think it's a good thing because it shows there's competition. Mm-hmm. And that means there is still going to be a drive for honesty. Like if it's only a business model and everyone's in the same boat and they're all of the same contract and it's one company, big con, then we don't know if we're being told the truth. We need to incentivize someone to be on the outside of that.
This was my thing with this was my initial reaction to with like the Crowder Daily Wire thing, where it's like, I don't want Crowder to go to Daily Wire because I think he's better and more effective independent. And I would like to not see everything come under one giant, massive umbrella. So like there's problems with the Blaze, there's problems with whoever. I don't care. I'd rather there's more companies kind of, fighting for those space and having to be honest and having to be, whatever. Then, I don't like the idea of everybody coming under one umbrella. I think it's actually better for our movement that Crowder's not part of the Daily Wire. Whether you like Crowder or not is not my point. My point is
when Stephen held up that contract. Mm-hmm. I paused and I zoomed in and I thought for sure I saw the word Francisco.
It was on there. Yeah, I think it was. We got a hello over here from Susudio. What's going on, Susudio? How's it going?
Susudio.
All right, so we got totally sidetracked there for a minute, but I do want to get to this story really quick because it's a good one. So we were talking about the Clinton plane crash earlier, right? Clinton airport plane crash. That's a it's a link.
You keep your electrical cords and your carriage guns at home, okay?
Guys, I got demonetized on Instagram today.
Abby and I both got flagged at the airport. I'm telling you, we are under attack.
At the airport?
We all did. My wife and I got groped for an hour, both there and back, 2 different times.
Okay. So that's funny. Abby got
Oh, it was not funny.
At the airport. No,
it was not funny. We were almost late, and it was because I told her we don't need to leave early. It was not funny. Believe me, it was like she was about to serve me papers. It was not funny.
So you guys got held up at the airport. Abby got held up at the airport. I haven't had a chance to talk to her yet, so she doesn't know that we're demonetized on Instagram. It just happened before we went live.
I haven't had to talk to her yet.
I haven't had to. But the only thing I posted about today was the Clintons, and it was this story. So I want to bring this up because I think this is funny. It's probably going to get taken off of YouTube.
So no warning, no strikes, just nuked.
Luckily our account wasn't taken down, but we just got instantly demonetized.
They're like, listen, we're okay with you knocking Hillary, but we put so much money into her that we're not going to pay you to do it.
Right, exactly. That's what it was. So this story is not new, but there's new evidence, and that's why this came out. So this Arkansas cop rules the death of a Clinton aide found tied to a tree and shot with no gun a suicide. So there is an update to this, because I know that sounds really ridiculous, like no gun, shot himself while hanged. That can't be real. But luckily the Daily Mail fixed some things for us. So we got this exclusive. Shotgun was found near the body of Clinton aide linked to Jeffrey Epstein. He was the guy who literally wrote the things that let Epstein to the White House 7 times. That's who this guy was.
So he signed him in.
He signed him in 7 times.
He checked his ID and made sure he was legit.
Yep.
Hey, Susudio 0530. If you watched my show on YouTube, I did not see your chats because I didn't have it open. So I apologize. I did not see your chats. I didn't even look at any of the YouTube chats. So I apologize. I didn't see it.
Yeah, that's why Rumble's where it's at anyway. So
Rumble and Odyssey. That's why. Did we turn off YouTube yet, or can we?
You know what? Let's do that before we get into the story. I'll give you guys a minute to go over to Rumble.
Just in case we risk everything to talk about how HRC, not the Human Rights Commission, but the other one.
The other HRC is so yeah. If you guys are not following us, it's rumble.com/c/Last American Pubcast. And then we're also on Odyssey. If you just type them into the search bar in either one, they come up pretty quickly. So Rumble and Odyssey, and we will meet you over there, and then we'll talk about the.
I'll wait. I'm gonna wait for you. I'll wait for you. I'm gonna keep myself for you.
I'll wait for you.
That was a Catholic, so I remember hearing that line. Did I say I was a Catholic? I still am.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to make it sound like I left the faith. Was a Catholic, still am, but I used to be too.
All right, I see Real Truth Cactus is over on Rumble, so people are already moving over there. So we will see you later, YouTube.
Hey, Trumpet asks a decent question.